Welcome back to the video on the channel. I did want to bring out my women's final preview and prediction for the French Open a little bit later than today, with the final not being played till Saturday, but I wanted to review the two semi-finals that have just been played, and while they're fresh on the mind I thought I would talk about them and look ahead to Saturday's final and what will be a thriller. I did predict Swiatek and Sofia Kenin to progress to the final in my preview video this morning, although I must admit I did change Sofia Kenin and Kvitova prediction during recording. I did initially think Kvitova, and then when I was mid-recording and talking about the Sofia Kenin's had in the game style, then I did change my prediction to Kenin. But yeah, both players came in straight sets. You had Swiatek beat Podoroska in 6-2, 6-1, and Sofia Kenin beaten Kvitova 6-4, 7-5. The first one proved to be a little bit of a mismatch. Although I did think Swiatek would win, I thought Podoroska would put more of a fight up than what she did. The level that she showed against Elena's Svitolina certainly wasn't there today, and I don't know whether she got a little bit tight and nervous with it being the first of a Grand Slam semi-final, and completely understandable. And although I said on Twitter she'd be disappointed with the level that she produced today, never really got into the match and got dominated from pretty much start to finish. She still had a fantastic event. This is a player who's just 23-year-old, ranked 131st in the world before this tournament, had only ever qualified for one Grand Slam back in 2016. So to come out in 2020 and reach the semi-final of the French Open is a fantastic achievement. She beat Elena's Svitolina, who was the third ranked player in the tournament, along the way in straight sets. So yeah, a fantastic week still for a young player who will surely have a future and do more at Grand Slams than what she has done previously. Can certainly be proud of her performance at this event. I thought, Podoroska, I thought she would use more slices and drop shots and try and throw off Swiatek really, and keep her on the run and not let her set her feet and open up the forehand and the backhand side, but she didn't really do that. I think she traded from the back of the court and played into the hands of Swiatek. Swiatek out-hits the best of players. Broke down the defences of Simona Halep very easily the other day, so there's always going to be a tough mismatch from the back of the court, and that proved to be the case. Swiatek turned up and served well and hit winner after winner again. There's seems to be no signs of letting up. She's just producing fantastic tennis in every round, no signs of nerves, no signs of fatigue, despite playing both singles and doubles and remaining on both sides of the draw. Looks as confident as ever and just playing outstanding tennis. There's not really much more you can say about Swiatek other than that she's playing brilliant, flawless tennis, really not really putting a foot wrong or looking like she's going to be putting a foot wrong. But it is her first ever Grand Slam final on Saturday. There must be nerves going into the mind, and she's up against a fantastic opponent in Sofia Kenin. So moving on to semi-final number 2, Kvitova against Sofia Kenin, and for Kvitova's side, I think she'll be disappointed in patches. I think she produced the best tennis. She had some fantastic clean forehand winners, stayed in a lot of the games, served very well in the first serve. Second serve, Kenin really targeted, particularly with a drop shot a couple of times, which I thought was very interesting, and it seemed to throw Kvitova off and really dent the confidence in Kvitova. I think problem for Petra today, she made a lot of break points, but seemed to go for too much for me, trying to hit clean winners off the return, and she kept over hitting the ball and just trying to play shots that weren't the percentage shots, going for winners too early in the rallies and allowing Kenin back into the games. And we know Kenin's a player that performs very, very well under pressure, and she'd done that again today. But Kvitova, I thought, she's had a very good tournament, hadn't dropped a set going into this match, and she probably went to the matches as favourite with many people's book, and as a previous Grand Slam champion, so it brings all the experience onto the match court. And she lost 2 close sets. She could have arguably won both sets on another day. I just think Kenin really played the bigger points better, played the percentage shots, made less enforced errors, and Kvitova, give a few games away, which is something you can't do against Sofia Kenin. And moving on to Kenin's game, just become more impressed with Kenin is the more I watch her. She's played one match on clay this year, losing 6-love to Azarenka. and then goes on to reach the French Open final. But although it is a shock, I did say in my preview video before the tournament started that, you know, if this comes down to mental strength in a battle mentally and down to who can win the bigger points and play the best tennis at the biggest stage of the tournament, then, you know, Sofia Kenin's going to be bang there at the end, and she proved to do that. You know, she's a player that I think served well today. You know, she's got a good first serve, pretty consistent. The forehand looked good, but she really relied on that double-handed backhand and very rarely let it down. It's a very reliable, consistent, aggressive shot. She mixed it up with the drop shot well, and just done what Sofia Kenin does. You know, break players down, problem solve very well, use of all the variations, defend, counter punch, very fit, very quick, get balls back in court, and she just forced the errors out of Kvitova and kept Kvitova guessing all the time and playing out the Kvitova backhand, which, you know, isn't a strongest suit. And yeah, I thought Kenin was outstanding, but I mentioned a lot of videos and it might sound like a broken record, but her ability and mental strength and maturity that she brings to the court is on another level from a lot of different opponents. You know, I think she saved, you know, something like 8 or 9 break points out of 11. Played the longest and best game of the match. I think it was 3-2 in the second set. Saved 3 break points with some stunning winners. Even when serving for the match, when she did get a little bit tight, which I was surprised at, and threw in 4 unforced errors to give Kvitova a chance back in the match at 5-5. She really set herself free, focused, got back the double-handed backhand, a shot that she trusts and, you know, wants to get on, and she nailed it time and time again. Hit a couple of clean winners to get break points and did get the break to go 6-5 and eventually did serve it out. Yeah, she's just a player who impresses me with an all-round game. Makes very few unforced errors, gets a lot of balls back in court, and when she does get a chance to step in the court, she does it. You know, double-handed backhand, I believe, the shot that's getting more consistent and more aggressive, and she's getting better and better all the time. The forehand on the run is very good across court. The drop shot is almost, you know, perfection. She's done it twice off the Kvitova serve, hitting it for clean winners and things like that just throw opponents off. You know, Kvitova was cruising along in the first set before Kenin hit the drop shot off the serve, and from then on I think Kenin went on to win 3 consecutive games, and that drop shot just seemed to throw Kvitova completely off mentally. So it was Sofia Kenin who went on to book her place in the final. Looking ahead to the final, a fantastic matchup really. You've got Iga Swiatek, who's sort of come out of nowhere. You know, we've seen promise from him in the past. She reached the 4th round of the Australian Open this year, but I don't think anybody have predicted these sort of performances. You know, she hasn't dropped a set yet in singles or doubles. Lost just, I think, 25 games on singles, which is one of the lowest, I believe, to reach the final of a Grand Slam event. Just 19 years old, obviously one of the rising stars of the women's game. And she's a player who almost looked unstoppable, and the fact she's just hitting winners small angles, forehand, backhand, aces, drop shots. She's just got every shot in the book, and she's nailing every shot at the moment. Looks full of confidence, doesn't look fatigued, she's just blowing everybody off the court. But sometimes you wonder whether you want battles, you want to go to third sets, you want to have to come from behind, because at some point she's going to have to do that. And, you know, Sofia Kenin's a player who's won a Grand Slam, she's battle hardened. Even this week she's come back from sets down, she's won tight sets. She's beat the likes of Ash Barty at Melbourne, beat Garbine and Ruther in the Australian Open final. So she's got, you know, winning experiences to fall back on. She knows how to problem solve, she knows what to do if she goes behind. Whereas Swiatek's a very young player and hasn't had to do that yet this event. So it could almost work as a negative for Swiatek for the fact she's blown every opponent away, that she hasn't had a battle yet, hasn't had a fight, and hasn't had to problem solve and use a B, C and D game that you might have to rely on in the final. In terms of how I've seen the match going, I do think Sofia Kenin's probably the better defensive player, gets more balls back in court, but definitely the bigger ground strokes come from Swiatek. I think Kenin can probably trade backhands with Swiatek and be comfortable. You know, the double-handed backhand of Kenin is very, very solid, and as I say, hits the lines more often than not, especially good across court. The forehands, I think Swiatek's definitely got the edge with the power and the depth that she gets. Serving wise, Swiatek probably got the better first serve. Both like drop shots, both happy to come in and play around the net. But for me, just I think both players will produce the A games, and I think sets will be very close. And for me, what I've just touched on, the fact that Kenin brings so much maturity for a young player, mentally very, very strong, produces the best tennis, when down in games, when down in sets, when, at 3-3s and 4-4, Kenin's done it time and time again throughout this tournament, throughout her career, done it in Grand Slams on the biggest stages, and you can sort of rely on Kenin to produce most of her best tennis at the big end of matches, which is how you become Grand Slam champion, how you win semi-finals and finals, which is exactly what she's done. And I haven't seen that from Swiatek. It's no reason. It's not to say she can't do it. Swiatek might come out and play her best tennis in the biggest stages, in tie breaks. We don't know that yet. But Kenin, you've got proof that she's been there and done it. Even though she still is only 21, she's got a lot more experience than Swiatek at Grand Slam level, particularly in semi-finals and finals. And for that reason, I'm going to predict Sofia Kenin to come through in 3 sets. I think Swiatek will be good enough to win a set with the way she's been playing, the aggression that she's shown. I just think Kenin might break it down with a all-round solid game and a defence that she's got, the fitness, and as I say, she's battle hardened and she's won a Grand Slam in the past. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Kenin. I think it'll be a fantastic final, and whoever wins it will deserve it. And whoever loses it will still have had a fantastic event. Swiatek and Kenin have both played outstanding tennis this past 2 weeks, and hopefully both bring their A game for the final on Saturday, and we get treated to what should be a fantastic final. So yeah, that's final. My prediction is Sofia Kenin to beat Iga Swiatek in 3 sets. So tomorrow we move on to the men's semi-finals. My preview and prediction video is already up on the channel. If you want to check that out, I will be covering the final and the rest of the tournament on Twitter as well. So if you do want to follow me on there, I will leave a link to my account in the description below. If you have any opinions on the women's or men's semi-finals or finals, do leave them in the comments. I'm always up for talking about tennis. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you probably tomorrow to review the 2 men's semis and look ahead to Sunday's final.